I think he made our point very clear and very accurate.
Fleming Rose, are you pleased that European newspapers across the continent are now publishing your cartoons, stoking this up some more?
I'm not dissatisfied. I think it speaks
comes back to this idea that you're being provocative, doesn't it?
No, we are not being provocative. We are trying to put focus on a problem of self-censorship and freedom of speech regarding the coverage and dealing with Islam. Mr. Abu Laban was saying that there was a situation of a teacher and a pupil. In fact, it's the other way around. By publishing these cartoons, we are saying to the Muslim community in Denmark, we treat you as we treat everybody else. We make humor, satire, as we do with the Queen of Denmark, as we do with politicians.
Is that really true?
Yes,
where would you stop
and we
then?
say,
would you,
and we
for
say,
example, hang on. I want to test that thesis of yours. Would you publish a cartoon, for example, which portrayed a Jewish rabbi as a Nazi after, for example, perhaps an Israeli settler went out and attacked, shot some Palestinians? Would you do that?
In fact, we published a cartoon in December depicting Ariel Sharon killing Palestinian children.
No, but that's not what I asked you with respect. I asked about an ordinary Jewish rabbi. Would you depict him as a Nazi? Is there nothing that's off limits?
You know, the newspaper might have its own ethics. Might have.
So there are some limitations. You can talk about free speech, but there are some limitations.
Let me finish my point. The point here is that you as an individual, Mr. Abu Laban as an individual, I as an individual, might have our own limits. My newspaper might have its own limits. But that does not imply that I want to tell everybody that I will impose my own limits on them. And this is the point in this case.
Isn't there
the question you are asking...
But isn't there some arrogance amongst European journalists talking about freedom of speech? For example, has it not given you pause that some very significant people have lined up condemning what you've done or questioning it? Hamid Karzai, he's certainly not a raving Islamist fundamentalist.
Do you think
Hamid Karzai has said it was an insult to 1 billion Muslims?
Yeah, do you think he has seen the cartoons?
I'm sure he's seen the cartoons.
I'm not.
The internet allows anybody to see the cartoons, as you well know.
I'm not sure.
EU Commissioner Peter Mandelson has questioned the wisdom of publishing the cartoons. He says publishing them again and again just pours petrol on the flames. And just let me quote one more MP, a British MP who happens to be Muslim, Shahid Malik. He says, we know we have these freedoms that you talk about. We don't have to unnecessarily insult, ridicule or abuse people to prove that freedom of expression exists.
And that is exactly what I wrote in the piece accompanying the text, and that's why I'm telling you.
But he's saying that you made a fundamental mistake.
But reasonable people can disagree about these things. But I wrote in my text that the point here is not to spit, not to mock, not to ridicule. The point is to put focus on the problem of freedom of speech and self-censorship.
But Fleming, in our personal meeting, I tried to draw your attention to the difference, and we are in need of sense of distinction. I told you personally that the situation in France concerning scarf, it's a personal, where if I don't like my daughter to go to a French school without a scarf, I can keep it at home or find a private school. But Mohammed belongs to every individual Muslim. The case is quite different. And the mood in Denmark, we enjoy freedom of speech, we use it and we like to use it, but we said within a person-to-person talk and within the platform of a humanitarian understanding, in every culture we have holy symbols, the flag. Now the Danish population is extremely outraged by setting a fire to the Danish flag in Gaza Strip. It had provoked them.
But I have a comment on the flag. I mean, I have said in an interview that I do not have problems with people burning the Danish flag if that is within Danish law. And the problem here with limits is that I support...
So it's a question of law, not a moral responsibility.
No, every individual and my newspaper, we take moral responsibility for what we are saying. But the problem is that the limits for everybody living in Denmark should be defined by the limits of the law. And we have been, the Muslim community have tried to indict us for blasphemy and for racism. And the Danish authorities, the judiciary, found out that there is no ground for indicting the newspaper, either for blasphemy or for racism.
Ahmed Abu Laban, your problem is that you, having set out to deliberately stoke the fires when it comes to Muslim reaction to this incident, you have now divided Muslim opinion, because on the one hand you have the Islamists, the radicals, who are clearly inflamed. On the other hand, you have other Muslims who think you have overreacted. Let me just quote one to you. A Danish Muslim MP, Nasser Khader, he's accused you of telling lies about what the newspaper did. And he says, I'm a Muslim, and I've learned from Islam that you must not lie, especially if you're an Imam. And that comment was directed directly at you.
Well, I think he has the habit of lying all the time himself. We have
Just because he doesn't agree with you?
No. We have one of two choices. Whether to keep pressure inside Denmark until we reach the flashpoint and another assassination. I swear in the name of God, I will use everything in my capacity that no violence should come and spread to Scandinavia. So,
Excuse me.
Yes.
It seems a little odd that you're saying you took this to the Muslim and Arab world to prevent overheating, when in fact the precise result of what you've done is gunmen outside an EU office in the Gaza Strip. We've had militants in Iraq saying they're going to kill Danish troops, and you're saying you've tried to keep the situation under control.
Well, it's not our mistake if academic circles did not respond to us. Have you ever heard that a group of chief editors of the Middle Eastern newspaper decided to travel to communicate? This is our target from the very beginning.
Will you at least acknowledge to me that you utterly condemn what has been happening in various parts of the Arab and Muslim world as a result of this newspaper publication?
With no hesitation, any act of violence is counterproductive to our issue. In Islam, we like dialogue, we like debates and discussions. We have enough patience and evidences, etc., to go ahead with our issue. I think.
So you must be very sorry that you behaved in the way you did and took it to all of these different, including Sheikh Fadlallah, the spiritual guide of Hezbollah. You went directly to him to discuss this case. You must now regard that as a terrible mistake.
Well, if we did not do that, you will meet me in the prison because somebody would have been shot dead in this country. And now the imams should be held responsible because they have kept it quiet until it went out from their control. And some enthusiastic Muslim under extreme pressure and mental situation will take his gun and shoot somebody, as happened in Holland.
You know, if that happens, people will say you have blood on your hands.
Yes. I mean, if because I have taken the case outside Denmark?
Yes.
No, it's the contrary. We have tried to reach, I repeat, Monsieur Sarkozy in France did no mistake when he found there is a crucial religious issue. He took the plane and he met to the highest Sunni authority to consult them about scarf, whether it is a tradition or it is a religious obligation.
But let me just say that your community have had access to my newspaper every day during the course of this case. We have never had so many Danish Muslims on the pages of the newspaper. We have never had so many Muslims.
That's a feeling of guilt, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's a very important debate about, on the one hand, what does it imply to respect freedom of speech? And on the other hand, what does it imply to respect other people's religion? Does it imply?
You really believe that you have exhibited respect throughout this?
Sure. I am a strong supporter of freedom of religion. When I go to Mr. Abu Laban's mosque, I behave in accordance with Muslim rules. But the problem is that if the Muslim community, if some people in the Muslim community want to impose their religious taboos, that is the depicting of the Prophet, in the public space in Denmark, they are not asking of respect, they are asking of submission.
But you are an experienced...
Let me just finish this point. If every religion in Denmark, every religion has its strong taboo, its holy things. If every religion imposes its taboo on the public space in our society, Denmark would be a very nasty place to live in.
Many